In today's video, we are covering in which class should you register, what are the different classes, and where can I find out which category is applicable to you. Hey everybody, my name is Marcella Dominguez, and if you are new to this channel, make sure you hit the red button down below that says subscribe. If at any time during this video, something I said really helped you out. It helps me show up in the algorithm for other people who also need this kind of information. I am going to break down the different trademark classes so that you can better understand how the trademark identification manual works. We are going to be covering three things. Number one, where can you find an exhaustive list of all of the trademark classes that exist? Number two, how do you know which class actually applies to you? And number three, what happens if you mess up in selecting a class on your application? Can you fix it? What can you do about it? If you want to know which class is applicable to you, then make sure you watch this entire video from beginning to end, because in the end, I have a very important tip that is going to really help you out in choosing the right class when it comes to filling out your trademark application with the USPTO. You can find the Trademark Identification Manual online, of course, at the United States Patent and Trademark Office website. I'm going to link it down below so you can have access to it at any time. So let's dive in. Number one, where do I find an exhaustive list of all of the trademark classes that exist? So there are a total of 45 different classes. Now, are you going to select 45 different classes for your application? Probably not. You want to cover the class that most applies to your situation. So there are people that think, oh yeah, I got this. How hard could it be? All I have to do is plug in hoodies. And if I find class 25 for hoodies, then that's my class. Well, sure, but not all trademark applications are going to be as straightforward. Not everybody is going to be selling hoodies. So for those of you that sell something a little bit more complex, perhaps you have a combination of goods and services and you sell stuff maybe on a third-party website or you sell stuff on your own website, then it is going to matter what kind of class you choose. And it's not as straightforward as just plugging it in to the ID manual and saying, come on, give me some good feedback, give it to me. It's not going to work like that. And so that's why this video is very, very important for you, because you don't want to be tricked. But filling out a trademark application and selecting the right identification can be tricky. And so that's why I'm creating this video for you. So where can you find an exhaustive list of all of the trademark classes that exist? I'm going to walk you through where you can find the right information for your class. So open up another browser and put it side by side with this video so that you can watch the video while you're actually doing a search. You're going to want to go to Google. Pretty easy, right? You're going to do a search for Trademark ID Manual. You will find a link for the Trademark Identification Manual. When you open the link for that manual, you will see that you can type in anything into that manual. So go ahead, type in hoodies, and you will see what pops up. You will get a list of different descriptions with the matching class that you can select in your trademark application. Now, if you sell goods, then you will probably encounter an international class between 1 and 34. You see, there are a total of about 45 different classes. Classes 1 through 34 are for people who sell goods. So if you sell goods, then you will more than likely be selecting from 1 through 34. Now, if you sell services, then you more than likely will be choosing from classes 35 to 45. If you type in a type of service that you offer, in my example, I would type in lawyer or legal services. If I type that in, then you will see that my class actually is between 35 to 45 because I am a service provider. So when this video is over, I want you to go ahead and play with this website. This website can actually be kind of fun to just, type in random things and see under what class you would fall. Now, again, this process can be a little bit tricky. So if you have any doubts about whether or not you are selecting the right class for your trademark, then you want to go ahead and send me an email, because it's always free to do so. You can also schedule a consultation to speak to me, and I'd be more than happy to get to know you and your business to make sure your trademark application is successful on the first go around. Now, why is it important to even consult with somebody to make sure that you're getting the class right on the first go around? Well, stay tuned for tip number 2. Number 2, why is it tricky to select a class with the USPTO for a trademark application? Well, you see, if you mess up on the trademark class, you may not be allowed to go back and change that class later on. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that as a lawyer, I want to register a trademark in a class that covers hoodies and legal services. Let's say I include hoodies in the original application, but I realized down the road that I should have included legal services, or that I now want to include legal services. Is it as simple as just going back into the application and telling the USPTO, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to include legal services, please include that for me and please send me an invoice? No, it does not work that way. The trademark office says that you can only narrow the scope of your identification, but you cannot expand or exceed the scope of what you identified in the application. So in my case, by including legal services later, I'm trying to exceed the scope of my application by not just including hoodies, but by also trying to include legal services. And the USPTO says that is not allowed. Too bad, so sad. If you want to have a trademark for legal services, you're going to have to file a whole new application. So remember what I said. It can be tricky because down the road, you cannot expand on your identification, you can only narrow it. This is why it's important that you include the right classes in your application on the first go around. Now, if you're okay with filing an application down the road for something you forgot, then by all means skip over to tip number 3, because maybe you understand this trademark process from having watched the entire playlist on my channel. By the way, guys, I recently got a haircut. I went a little short. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. Is it better long, or do you like it short? Number 3, how much does it cost to register a trademark when I am potentially using 3 classes or 4 classes or maybe even 5 classes? As of the filming of this video, August of 2023, the cost is $350 per class. So if you want to register 5 different classes, then yes, you will multiply 350 times 5, and that will be the total cost of filing your trademark application, including those 5 different classes. Now, is that the right thing to do? Well, if you are certain that those are the right classes for you, then sure, by all means, go ahead and register those 5. But is there a way to save money and potentially register in fewer classes and still succeed with the registration? Scroll down into the description to find my email address. And yes, it is possible. Maybe sometimes it would be to your benefit to consult with somebody so that maybe you're registering in 3 classes as opposed to 5, because maybe you're a small business and maybe you're bootstrapping it, or perhaps you realize that you don't need to spend money in 5 classes when really you could achieve your goal with registering in 3 classes. But to be certain, you want to contact somebody or speak with somebody who has been there and who has done that on multiple occasions. So before you waste your time and before you waste your money, you want to play around with that trademark ID manual, which, like I said, you can find right there. And by the time you get on a call with me, you will be able to tell me, I played around with the trademark ID manual. This is what I found. These are my thoughts. Now help me out. Should I register in all of these? Wait. I am glad you stayed for the bonus tip. And the question is, Marcella, in how many classes should I be registering? Do most people register in 1, 2, or 3 classes to start? What do you think? What should I do? Well, if you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, then more than likely you are just starting off on your business journey, or maybe you're settled enough to where you're selling a specific product or service consistently enough that it makes sense for you to register in certain classes. Now, without knowing more about your business and whether you sell a product or a service or a combination of both, it is hard for me to tell you, yes, most people register in 1, most people register in 2, or even 3. But I can say that when you're filing an application, you're registering in at least 1 class. You cannot file an application and skip over that part. You have to make a designation for at least 1 class. And I suggest that you file a class in something that you're absolutely certain you are going to be selling, or in something that you have consistently sold in the past. In other words, is that the only thing you should register in? Well, no, not necessarily. In one single application, you could register something that you plan to sell in the future, and also something that you have consistently been selling in the past and to the present date. So in order to configure your application the right way on the first go round, make sure you schedule a consult with me down below because again, I'm happy to talk to you about your business needs. To learn more about trademark classes and how this process works, don't forget to catch that video right there because I do cover more about trademark classes and what they mean and how they affect your trademark journey. So don't forego getting a trademark because you're scared or intimidated by the process. If I am here to help, I will answer all the questions that I can, but make sure to drop me a comment down below so I know this video was helpful. And don't forget to watch that video right there.